How are you guys doing? This is Ryan. Welcome back to the channel. In this week's video, I want to talk about, is Bitcoin Cash the next Zcash? Of course, not financial advice. Please do your own research before investing. I guess the true answer is, we don't really know, right? But we generally know, kind of how crypto works, and what we're in right now. So the Zcash run was pretty awesome. I held a little bit of Zcash and did extremely well. And like me, I asked myself as an investor, this is just what I think, my opinion. Do I want to continue holding Zcash that I bought around $40? Or do I want to take, profits from that and look for, another Zcash-like opportunity? And am I one of many people doing that? Because this is what kind of happens in alt season, if you will. And I want to talk about why it's just bigger than speculation here, because Zcash, has a good ethos behind it. It's a cash coin, and then you look at another coin like Bitcoin Cash, which is a cash coin, and both have underperformed their 2017 highs. Zcash now outperformed it, and that's the question. As these coins or any asset, do they regain their all-time highs in the way they place themselves in the market? And you look at the similarities, that both coins, value a lot of the same things. If you made a lot of money in Zcash and you're like, wow, Bitcoin Cash is still under its 2017 high, and Bitcoin Cash and Zcash able to surpass it. Both coins have done a lot of good things to improve its, its functionality, and it just seems like that is a possibility. I'm not saying it's a probability. I'm not saying I really even know. I'm just saying that projects like these that add a lot of value to humanity, I personally do like Zcash. Is it my favorite coin? It's up there in my top 10 probably, for sure. I think they've done a lot of good to make payments useful for people, especially with the optional privacy route. Now, does it have a pre-mine and some other issues with it? Yeah, we can beat it up on that, and that's okay. Ultimately, I think that is, especially for a newer coin, that's extremely problematic, and any kind of centralized controls with that is a problem, and it certainly makes Bitcoin Cash more attractive. What Zcash has that Bitcoin Cash doesn't have is that pretty solid, built-in privacy features, which Bitcoin Cash isn't terrible at either. They have cache fusion, and now with the VM limits upgrade, there's going to be all kinds of privacy tokens attached to it, and it's going to have just so much power. So it's, how does the market price these things and find its value? I mean, certainly Bitcoin Cash is, should, be much higher for what it can potentially bring to humanity. Just where's the market valuing at it today, and the possibility of it doing those things? I don't know. It looks, I like it, so, what I did is I, swapped some of my Zcash for Bitcoin Cash. And, of course, Bitcoin Cash is still, I think got the best shot, if, I feel like I made my last video talking about just the Bitcoin PSYOP and how that becomes unraveled, when people start to wake up and realize everything that they, thought they knew was a lie, whether that's, I just see that happening so much in the Republican Party right now, and it's just a similarity that there's just clear psyops and intelligence controls to just make people believe something for someone else's return, even though it's not true. And I just don't think these things can go on forever. So I think ultimately you're going to see the psyop break down. People understand the hijacking and how clever and problematic it was. And you're just going to see the market realize, wow, and for lack of a better term, this is the real Bitcoin. People are buying the psyop version, and it's actually just a skeleton. It's so bad, Bitcoin. It's so not it doesn't really offer much to that many people. It's become like this strange Ponzi scheme. And it's like such a powerful thing that it has that Bitcoin brand. And Bitcoin was this, like answer for humanity to take back money from the state and provide value to people so governments couldn't, steal from them and throw them in wars and silently tax their citizens with inflation. They were going to have to, it was going to create this more voluntary system and, with less coercion. And it's just so powerful. And, just what is going to flip the switch? Certainly price. And if, prices in crypto are weird, but when the price starts going up, it's like a marketing tool. And then people start looking into it. Oh my God, why is Bitcoin Cash up? Well, it's because of all the other incredible things it's been doing, since, really 2021. It's just been, incredible upgrades after incredible upgrades, improving on what Bitcoin is. So just recap, I've made tons of videos, but, Cash tokens, the most advanced UTXO DeFi scripting in the world. And it's even getting better this year with the VM limits. That was a huge step for Bitcoin Cash, as it struggled with SLP. Like, it had to have failures to get here. It struggled with SLP, struggled with Smart BCH, and then Cash tokens has just been incredible as a whole ecosystem. And then the ABLA upgrade, the built-in algorithmic, I can't say that word, algorithm to increase the block size as the network will become vastly more popular and have to take on more users, which Bitcoin failed at. And then this year, just improving the VM limits, and it's truly incredible. So, is Bitcoin Cash the next Zcash? I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised. Bitcoin Cash, my prediction was that it would go over 2,000. Watch when Zcash hit. I didn't see Zcash going to 600. So, could Bitcoin Cash topple its all-time high? It's possible. Again, not financial advice, but these markets, do some crazy things. And I know that if I were your friend, say we are friends, say don't go in with that expectation. Go in expecting to hold the asset for the next 10 years, and then if that happens, and when you're investing in crypto, you really it has to be bigger than the return. Like everything I said about what Bitcoin can be for humanity, like if that's your guiding light and you're patient, I think you got a decent shot to do well with the asset. I'm not much of a trader. I just really believe the monetary system is messed up, and I think a peer-to-peer cash system would be incredible if the world just took us on. How long is it going to take? It's certainly longer. When I started in crypto, it's longer than what I thought. But I realize these things are more challenging than just everyone getting it. So if you can get it now and just be patient, society takes its time to catch up. But these things kind of go slow, and then all of a sudden. So it's an interesting world we live in. If you like the video, give it a thumbs up, and subscribe to the channel for future content, and leave a comment below if you do think Bitcoin Cash is the next Zcash in this bull market run. Thank you.